You can't stand silence. You fill every gap with podcasts and music and videos and scrolling, reaching for your phone the moment a quiet moment appears because silence feels uncomfortable, even threatening, and you call it boredom or wasted time. But here's the paradox that will make you want to turn off every screen and just listen to nothing. The more you avoid silence, the more you need it, because silence isn't empty. It's where your brain processes and creates and heals and integrates. And every bit of noise you inject steals a moment from your own cognitive maintenance. So you're not being productive, you're preventing your brain from doing its most important work. And the data is overwhelming. Even 2 minutes of silence lowering blood pressure and reducing cortisol and increasing blood flow to the brain. And yet Americans are so uncomfortable with silence that a famous study gave people a choice: sit quietly for 15 minutes or give themselves a mild electric shock, and a shocking number chose the pain over the stillness, preferring shock to their own thoughts. And the neuroscience is a crisis. Your brain's default mode network, the part that handles self-reflection and memory and creative insight, needs silence to activate. So when you constantly feed your brain external input, you suppress that network, losing the ability to reflect and remember and generate original ideas and process your own emotions, becoming a passive consumer of noise instead of an active creator of meaning. And the American twist is we've turned noise into a productivity tool, calling podcasts learning and music focus and scrolling staying informed, pathologizing silence as laziness. But silence isn't a void, it's a womb. Every creative breakthrough and healed wound and genuine insight emerging from silence. You can't schedule it, you can only make space for it. And we've built a culture with no space. And the quiet reversal that only lands when you actually sit still long enough to feel the discomfort is that the most creative and grounded and mentally healthy Americans aren't the ones consuming the most content. They're the ones who've learned to sit in silence intentionally, driving without audio and waiting without checking and spending a few minutes a day doing nothing at all, discovering that silence isn't boring but the only place they can hear themselves think, and that real thinking is the most productive thing you can do. And I need to tell you about Leo, a noise addict with podcasts on double speed and music while reading and TV while eating, feeling scattered like a radio picking up every station until a therapist told him to turn it off. So he tried a few minutes of silence each morning, panicky the first week, bored the second, then an idea surfaced, a real one he hadn't heard anywhere, and he wrote it down and it became a side business that replaced his job, telling me he'd spent years consuming other people's ideas and his first original thought in a decade came from nothing. And nothing isn't nothing. Nothing is everything. And the American cognitive paradox is right here. We fill our lives with noise to feel productive, but noise is theft, stealing your thoughts and insights and peace. The only escape is to turn it all off and hear your own voice again. And right now your brain wants to argue silence is uncomfortable and you might miss something. But ask yourself what you're afraid you'll hear in the silence, and the answer is yourself. And that fear is the loudest noise of all. So if the impulse just sparked to send this to someone who always has earbuds in, that's not about me. It's the recognition that their playlist isn't protecting them, it's numbing them. And the first real conversation you've had with yourself in years might be just a few minutes of intentional silence. And the question from the beginning, why are we terrified of silence when it's exactly what we need, has an answer that only a second viewing fully reveals. Silence is a mirror, and you've been running from your own reflection your whole life. So now go sit in silence for 5 minutes. That's an order.